We are back again, y'all. Listen, today is going to be one of those that you definitely want to tune in for. I got my man George. Listen, George is the type of individual that when he starts speaking, you're going to know exactly why he's so successful. He has a way of delivering the message that makes sure that it makes sense to you and allows you and your business to grow. Make sure that you guys are tapped in. As soon as you get on, I want you to invite 2 or 3 of your friends, these individuals within your network, because you definitely want to tap into this particular live. It's going to be a special one. George, I just invited you. You should see that invite. Hopefully it went through. Do it again. Okay, there we go. What's going on, bro?
Man, not much, man. How you doing?
Hey, man, it's good to see you, man.
You
You
as
know,
well,
one
my
of the
man.
main reasons why I wanted to get with you because it's like we had did stuff on Clubhouse together, but I never got a chance to actually see you and talk to you. So I was like, I got to take my opportunity with this.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I just got back on Clubhouse. I've been trying to warm up to it and everything like that.
Oh, okay. So you
So
was off of it for a while too.
yeah, I was off of it, man, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they
I'm
got
just
so
now
many new
getting back on it.
updates, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, man. But I think it's become really what the app was supposed to be. You got a lot of the cappers and the fakers off,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
become really what we all felt it should be.
for sure. All right, so George, I'm gonna treat this interview a little bit different, bro, because I feel like the people that's following you, people that rock with me, that rock with you, they don't really know how George built this empire. So that's kind of what I want to talk about, and you kind of drop some views along the way. Is that cool?
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So for those that don't know, like, tell them who you are and what exactly you do.
Yeah, so my name is George Pitts. I'm a business coach and online strategist. What I do is I work with coaches and content creators, and I teach them how to turn their knowledge into profits by showing them how to create digital products, but also teaching them the other parts of it, the most important parts, building out your funnel, setting up your systems, pricing your services, and most importantly, getting in front of the right audience. Because it's one thing to have a product or it's one thing to be a coach, but if you don't know how to sell your product, you don't know how to sell your service, and you don't have the systems to support it, you're not really going to make a lot of money, or you're not going to get as far as you could because you hit a ceiling. So we teach them how to build that so they can spend more time working on the business and less time working in the business.
I love that. I love that. All right, now tell us how you got started with everything. Like, what was it? A mentor? Was it a coach? Was it some inspiration you saw on social media? Like, what got this fire inside of you? Because you ain't like the average coach, George. You already know that. You're not this average coach to give a little bit of game. You put the fireworks out there whenever you speak. That's what I said at the beginning of this live. So tell us kind of like that journey and story behind the scenes.
Yeah, so my journey started ironically, man, 6 years ago exactly. So I started in on Periscope in the end of March, and I'll be lying if I told you the date because I don't know. I just know it's towards the end of March. It was the end of March of 2016, and what it was I was at a Friendsgiving that followed that previous November. Friendsgiving is where you come together before Thanksgiving with friends and you have a dinner just like you do for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So we were frying a turkey, and my buddy's like, "Hey, take my phone and show this as I'm putting the turkey down." So I'm like, cool. And so I'm seeing all these hearts and all this stuff. And I'm like, what is this? He's like, it's an app called Periscope. I was like, I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because it was people from Canada, UK, and they're on this thing. They're just pumping hearts. And I
Yeah.
thought it was the coolest thing in the world. So I downloaded it and I just watched for like 3 months. From like November to February, I was just watching. So
Gotcha.
finally, I got on there and started doing, scopes. And I was just teaching kind of, I wasn't really teaching. I was just showing my day. I was showing how
Yeah.
when I would get home from work, I'm like, look at all these boxes, guys. I got to take these boxes in because I was doing eBay on the side.
Gotcha. Okay.
So what happened was, man, I started doing that and more people started coming in asking questions. And they're like, yeah, you should have a course, or yeah, you should, do you offer coaching? Do you offer coaching? I'm like, I don't even know what any of this stuff is. Courses, coaching. I didn't know what
Yeah.
none of that was. So I started watching these different people, and I'm seeing all these people with, like, at the time they had like 30, 40 people in their broadcast, which to me at that time was a lot
Yeah,
of people
for
because I'm
sure.
having like 5 to 7. If I got to 10, I was ecstatic. They have like 30, 40, 50 people in their broadcast. Um, And I'm going in there like, yo, what's going on? And they're like, yeah, so if you want to get in here, go to bit.ly/. I mean, everybody had a bit.ly link, and they had a bit.ly link to all these things. It's $97. And like, you're seeing like 20 people like, yep, just signed up. Yep, just signed up. And I'm like, that was just $2,000.
Wow.
What is going on? You know, and then that's when I kind of got introduced to it. So one of the biggest things, and I'm so glad I did this, Manny, I didn't want to, like, I had people offering to pay me to teach them eBay. But instead of taking their money and just saying, hey, let's jump on a Skype call, because at the time, Zoom wasn't like it is now.
Right.
It was still Skype, you know, or Google Hangouts. I said, let me find someone to teach me how to do this. And that was probably the reason that we're on this right now.
Okay.
Because I was able to approach it from a business perspective instead of a side hustle.
Gotcha.
See what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
And so I worked with this coach. His name was Kelly James. We worked together for 6 weeks. And I launched my first course, the eBay Masterclass. And it was a live course. It wasn't pre-recorded. It was doing it live. Everyone was doing most of their courses live at the time. And that's how I got into it, man. And I got so addicted to it, but I was scared at the same time. Because I had imposter syndrome on my first course. But that's my journey. That's how I got into it. And I just continued to evolve since then.
That is dope. So along this journey, what was it that really kept you motivated along the way? Do you got like some, I don't say business besties to the guys because it sound kind of like girly kind of, but did you have like some business partners, some of your homies that was like rocking with you that was kind of spurring you along, or were you just out here kind of doing it yourself?
I was out here doing it myself.
Wow. Okay.
At the time, I was, like I said, I was working a 9 to 5. And when I got into it, I was like trying to check my coworkers' temperature with it. Like, man, y'all ever thought about like making money online? And no, we're just gonna work some extra hours, or no, we're not. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
Fair enough. I'm not gonna get into it. I'm gonna tell you, I made like $6,000 the other day. I'm just, you know.
Right.
And so I was able to get friends and network with people that kept me going when I got into the space. Because there was other people that were in the space as well, and they were they had 9 to 5s, and we were all just trying to figure it out and do it alone. We didn't have family that wanted to get in. We didn't have friends. So I built it from building just rapport with people online, and literally most of my greatest friendships and partnerships have came right here on social media. Wow,
that's dope. That's dope. Here's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about last year sometime when your page got shut down, bro. Let's talk about that, because listen, when you talk about a perseverance story, you're definitely at the top of the list for me, because I remember you talking about it on Clubhouse, and I was like, man, bro was doing good too on this page, man. Like, I'm praying for him, man. I don't know. I mean, I had never seen nobody page get shut down and then have to build it back up like you did. So I was like, I don't know what bro about to do. But man, did you get back out there and start fighting, bro? I was like, anytime I looked up, you had another 1,000 followers. I'm like, man, he doing something right over there. So talk about that journey, man, that story.
You know, I'll never forget this. It was May 12th of last year, day after my wife's birthday. I look at my phone, as we all do, look at it. It's about 6:45 in the morning. And I see this message from Facebook that says your account has been temporarily banned due to going against community guidelines. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking this is a spam email. So I automatically open Instagram, and there's the pop-up. Your account is banned due to going against community guidelines. Click here to learn, or go to facebook.com to learn more. I pull the covers off. I just head straight down the hallway full force. Luckily, my son wasn't up mowing around, because I probably just mowed him over. You know, I mean, I'm gone. I mean, you ever see a guy run? This is what you see. And I get in front of my chair. I'm typing in Facebook. I go to my Facebook account. Same thing. What's going on? So I look at everything. They said basically you went against community guidelines by impersonating someone else, by building an account that's impersonating someone else. I said, what? It's my name, Mr. George Pitts. What, so I send in the thing, and they sent me a request back saying, we need you to send a copy of your identification, something showing a current event that the date matches, and another piece of identification. So I send in my passport, my driver's license. I run to 7-Eleven at 7:25 in the morning to go and get a newspaper so I can take a picture next to it, send it to him. I send it to him, and 30 minutes later, literally 30 minutes later, I get an email saying that they couldn't validate the documentation that I sent, verify my identity. Therefore, I have been permanently banned, and I cannot ask for a review. Everything gone. Facebook account because it was attached to my Instagram, my WhatsApp account because it was attached to my Facebook, my ManyChat account because it was attached to both. And I'm like, what's going on? And the crazy thing about it, I don't even know if anybody knows this story. We had just did a 3-month campaign where we were doing webinars. And I actually just found my leads the other day, but I lost at the time 13,000 leads because my leads were being stored on Facebook lead part for my ads.
Wow.
13,000 leads gone.
Wow.
They should have been on my email list. That was my fault. But luckily they were still in ClickFunnels. I just found them last month.
Wow.
13,000 gone. Over 6 figures worth of Facebook pixel data gone. So, you know, and I had just posted the day before that I had just crossed 51,000 followers. But I had to share that second part because what a lot of people don't know is I didn't just lose my page. I lost my whole business, Manny. That was my whole business. Because if you guys have ever ran Facebook ads, you have pixels. And when you spend a lot of money, I had spent over multiple 6 figures on ads. When you lose that pixel data, that's data that learns your whole entire audience. So when you hit start, you know, campaign, it knows how to get in front of the right people because it's learned it over a period of time. And your ad system knows exactly who to put it in front of so you get the most results. So you're talking about, I can put $3,000-$4,000 in the ad campaign and I'm going to make $60,000-$70,000. I know that for a fact. When you lose that, you lose everything. So I didn't just lose my page with 51,000 followers. I didn't just lose my personal Facebook page and business Facebook page with thousands of followers and friends and family. I lost all my Facebook groups because multiple courses had groups.
That's true. I didn't think about that. That's true.
So I lost that. I lost my entire 13,000 leads list over this 3-month campaign that we had just finished. And I had lost over $250,000 in pixel ad data. Gone. So I didn't just lose my page. I lost my business. And I had to start from scratch.
So along with you losing all of that, all this potential business, all this business, like, what was it that was like, did you throw on like some Rocky theme music or something? Like, what was it that got you so motivated, bro? Because you did something that most people probably would have just chalked it up and said, let me try out another app and build from there. Like, what was it, bro?
Because he's not in here right now. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
So I got to make sure that I do this. It was my mentor that kept me in the game.
Okay.
I was ready to quit. I was ready. I was, I'm making good money doing what I'm doing in other places.
Yeah.
My background is in IT. I can go and get a seat. I was ready to just do something else. I didn't really want to fight. And what I meant by that, I wasn't ready to quit, but I wasn't ready to start fighting again. I guess that's the best way to say it. I wasn't ready to throw in the towel. This is a on the brink of being a 7-figure business at the time. It wasn't 7 figures. I'm not going to cap. It wasn't $1 million at the time, but it was on its way. But I wasn't ready. I didn't think I was ready to fight again. I was just like, because here's the thing. I fought for 2 weeks to get it back. I had to fire my attorney because he wouldn't send a letter.
Wow.
Facebook don't like people sending letters. I don't think this is a good idea. I'm like, I pay you to do this. You're my business attorney. You're on my retainer. Send the damn letter. He wouldn't send it. So I had to fire him, get my retainer money back. I went and shopped with all these other lawyers. They're sending letters. We're sending certified copies of my documents. We're hiring notaries. I mean, we're like putting a full court press. We did everything but jump on a plane and go. And I was willing to do that.
Wow. And
once all those things didn't work, we got contacts at eBay. We reached out to them, nothing. Once it didn't work, I was just like, I'm just going to do something else for a little bit. And then maybe I'll pick it up sometime in December. I'm exhausted.
Yeah. Fact.
And my mentor was like, George, like, you built a page with 51,000 followers. You could do it again.
Mm.
And he's like, and so every day he was just like, you have 51,000 followers. That means you need this many followers a day, this many followers a week to hit 10,000 by December. So that became my goal, was just to hit 10,000 by December. So I started again on May 20 something, right? Roughly 2 or 3 weeks later. And from May to August, I went to 12,000 followers.
Wow.
And then by December, I was already at 20,000.
Now, were you seeing a lot of familiar names and faces?
No, that's the crazy thing.
Wow.
So here's something that you guys need to know. I created a second page, Manny. And I put on my stories, hey, my other page was taken down, follow me here. And all these people that have big accounts, I reached out to them and said, hey, this is my new page, here's what happened. And they shared it. And I got 600 followers in one night. Wow. And Instagram shut it down. So I waited a week, and then I started Mr. Monetize Everything. And, then I just went, I said, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. So everything that I do that works or doesn't work, I put in this app called Evernote, which is like a virtual notebook.
Yeah, I'm familiar, yeah.
So when I was growing my page, and my goal at the time was like, I want to get 10K. I want to get that K next to my name. I'm trying all these different things. And I finally found a method that worked, and I documented it. Yeah. And I just went in, and everything I put in that document to do, I tripled it. So I was like, post once a day. This is what you're going to post. Comment to everybody. Go comment on 3 posts. Do all this stuff. I posted 3 times a day. I commented on at least 20 different posts a day instead of 3, and just magnified it.
Yeah.
And it just went stupid. And literally it just took off. So once I got to 20,000, I was like, man, this is crazy. And then I slowed down, and he's like, see what you did? You made it. You got it back. Yeah. Now just be, diligent. And it wasn't until I hit like 15 to 20K when people I did start to notice, like, is this your new page? I was wondering what happened to you. Wow. Then they started to show up.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's such a dope journey about just perseverance, putting in the work. And I think that there are people right now with 5,000, 10,000, 7,000 that feel like, I want to get to the next level, but it just don't take all that. It has to be an easier way. So they're searching around for the right course to tell them how to get rich in 5 days without doing no work. And unfortunately, George, the course doesn't exist, and the people that tried to sell it, it didn't work. Nobody bought it. No. And it's just like, now they keep hearing people like you and I say, look, you can be massively successful, but there is this period of work. Yes, it's just time where you can rest and relax, but there's this season that you got to get totally focused on this particular business. You're trying to start a course. You got this webinar, and you put the whole thing together, and it looks super dope. Here's the problem. You still don't believe in it yourself.
That's right. That's right.
George, can you talk to him about that?
So this is what I call a full-time consumer. And I made a post about this last night, and I got a lot of DMs like, can you elaborate on this? Can you elaborate on that? With a full-time consumer, we're all consumers, business owners, consumers, but there's a difference between a business owner consumer that we go and buy clothes and stuff like that, and a full-time consumer. A full-time consumer is someone that works full-time so that they can go out and consume, so they're forced to work full-time again so they can go out and consume. So what happens is when you try to turn a consumer, because I made a comment on Twitter, and it went crazy even on Instagram. I said my business took off once I stopped trying to convert consumers into capitalists. Wow. What that means is once I stopped trying to convince people that, hey, if you spend 4 to 6 months just building these things out, you will start to make money and you will be in a position to where you can retire. And you're trying to tell this to people that only live in 2-week increments. Yeah. So if once you say you're going to get paid, but it's going to be more than 14 days, they check out. And so what happens is we're sitting there, we're just trying to drive this thing home like, yo, you can get out of the cubicle. You can get out of the rat race. You can get out of the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Just put in the work for 4 to 6 months. We're not asking you to do it for 4 to 6 years. We're not asking you to do it for 4 to 6 decades, just 4 to 6 months. follow this process, you will win. And we lose them. But when I turned my attention and I said, okay, instead of like trying to tell people, hey, my course is going to teach you how to do this and how to do that, you need to do this because it's going to help you get out of the cubicle, help. And then I'm talking to consumers now. Right. When I shift my messaging saying my course is going to help you do this and this and this, here's what your business is going to look like. Here's the strategies. Here's the tips. Here's this. Capitalists understand that. Because here's the thing. Consumers understand cost. Capitalists understand value.
Wow. Say that again.
Consumers understand cost. Capitalists understand cost and value. Right? So yes, a capitalist, someone that's in real estate, that's a capitalist. Someone that's in, accounting, that's a capitalist. Someone that's in insurance, if they own a business, they're a capitalist, right? If someone tells them, hey, this property is going to be $350,000, okay, you're going to need to put 15% down. So it's going to be about, if my math is right, $45,000. All right. Capitalists, they're thinking, okay, all right, we're at $300,000. I need to put $45,000 down. What do I need to get done? It's move-in ready. It's got new countertops, got new this. What are the comps in the area? That house right there sold for $500,000 about a year ago. This one right here sold for $550 about 6 months ago. This one over here sold for $625. All three of these houses are smaller than this one. The only difference with this one is that it doesn't have granite countertops, it doesn't have crown molding, and it doesn't have wood floors. So a capitalist is thinking, okay, bet I can buy this house for $300,000. I can put $20,000 into it, and I'm going to potentially walk away or have about 100 and some odd thousand in equity. This is a valuable property at $300,000. Therefore, I'm going to buy it. A consumer is looking at it like this is $300,000. I'm going to have to put 20 more into it, and then I have to wait 3 months for it to get done, and then I might get I'll get 500,000. But I can go and spend $300,000. I can get this Rolls Royce right now. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So now that's the difference.
Yep.
If you got a person trying to sell this $300,000 house, what happens is the house isn't selling because you're trying to sell it to people that say, it's going to take me more than 2 weeks to get this house ready. And therefore, then, I'll get a six-figure payout, but I can go get this Rolls Royce right now and I can go stunt on everybody today. I don't have to wait for the extra $100,000 to come in and stunt in 3 months. I don't want to wait 3 months. I want to stunt now. So what happens is they stunt now, but then guess what? They're forced to go back into being a full-time consumer by working 40 hours a week so they can get right back to stunting versus a capitalist is like, I want to stay a capitalist. I want to stay making big money. So I'm willing to wait 3 or 4 months to get my big payout, because I still got money from the money that I made previously that's going to make me good anyway.
Yep, absolutely.
So when you change your messaging to talk to people that understand value, your value starts to improve, but your conversion and your sales follow. When you talk to people that all they figure out is cost, you can I've seen it happen. You can take a $997 course, make it $497. You could make it from $497 to $297 to $197 to $97. Everyone's still going to feel like it's not valuable enough. Yep. And you've brought it from $1,000 to $97, and they still get everything that they get at $997 and $97, and you're only just seeing a trickle of sales. Versus if you speak to a capitalist and say, hey, this course is $997, but I'm going to teach you how to do this and how to do that, and you'll be able, if you follow this, you'll be able to generate about $10K a month within your third month. A capitalist is thinking, okay, if I spend $1,000 on this, run the play for 3 months, and able to build a business that's going to even generate me $5,000 a month. This course is paid for itself in the first month. If I continue to run $5,000 to $10,000 a month for the next year, this $997 was nothing. You know what I'm saying? But someone that only looks at cost is just thinking, it cost me $1,000 for this right now, and I got to wait 3 months to run the play. But I can go and spend $997 on this iPhone, and I can make a dope TikTok that everybody's going to love. That's the difference.
Yep. And that's real what you're saying, because as we grow our audiences, y'all, please hear this. You can't keep thinking that they can't afford it, they can't afford it. And in many instances, the reason why you got that in your head is because you know that some of the people that are rocking with you are just like you. They probably think just like you. Sometimes they have that poverty mindset. So you're probably thinking, oh, they ain't going to spend it on this and they're not going to buy this. But here's the thing. If you shift your thinking If you look at what you're putting together and making sure that it's valuable, making sure that the return that that person is going to get if they purchase it is much higher. See, people like to be able to walk away with a deal. That's why my wife and her friends, they'll clean up at Bath and Body Works. Why? Because they're going to go in there and they got some coupons, they got some sales. They're going to walk out of there with a whole bunch of value, feeling like I got over as a consumer. But if people are thinking of purchasing your course, your book, your ebook, and they thinking, I don't even know if this thing is worth $19.99, then you have a problem. So this kind of goes back to the earlier discussion about taking your time and respecting the process. If it might take 4 to 6 months, like Georgia said, maybe it might take a little bit longer. Because along with you putting together some dope materials, you also got to get that mindset together. I've heard so many of my mentors, Georgia, you probably the same, that if a person makes $1 million, but they don't have a millionaire mind, they will lose the money eventually because they don't really believe on the inside that they're a millionaire. And it's the same way with you trying to become this successful entrepreneur business owner. If that's not who you believe that you are, you're going to continue to creep back into this quote unquote imposter syndrome because deep down inside, this is not who you believe that you are. That whole imposter syndrome can be destroyed today if you just really understood who the heck you really are.
100%. And you got to look. A consumer, they thinking, the numbers don't lie. Consumers think in 2-week increments, right? So because they get paid every 2 weeks, right? But the other thing that people have to understand too is that when you are actually in a mindset where you're just in a mindset of constantly consuming, money is never going to fix your problem. Because if you think about it, the average person gets a 3% raise every year. So if you're at a job for 10 years, you've literally increased your income by 30% at the end of a 10-year period, not including any raises or promotions that take you even higher than that. Thanks. But the problem is that a person will start a job living paycheck to paycheck, and by year 10, they're still living paycheck to paycheck. And the reason for that is because this is going to blow y'all's mind. A consumer will consume at 110%. A capitalist is going to capitalize at 110%. What do I mean by that? If a consumer makes $60,000 a year, they're gonna spend $66,000. They're gonna spend at least 10% more of what they make. How can you spend more than what you make? Credit cards, lines of credit, overdraft fees, whatever you put out at, right? Changing your deductions. I've done it before in the past to what is it called? Exempt, so you can get a higher paycheck. So you end up having.
Oh, bro, that was the move back in the day when I was employed.
Listen, when you worked overtime, it was over. You know, but a capitalist, they're like they move like this, and this is what people. I really wish people would get this. If I put 10,000 into this stock and I make 1,000 back, that's a win. But a consumer is looking at it like, I want to put $100 in this stock and get 10,000 back. So then whenever it goes from 100 to 90 in their balance, they sell it off. And all of a sudden that thing shoots to the moon, and they could have made $500, $600, $700 if they would have been patient. They lost $10 and they lost all their patience. And it cost them hundreds of dollars because the people who were patient bought it cheaper and waited on it to go. One thing I'm going to tell you and everybody else in here when it comes to anything in the world is, and you've heard this before, Manny, and many people in here have too, history always repeats itself. If I see a stock that's at $10, and I'm just using stocks as an example, if a stock's at $10 but the 52-week high was 30, at some point between now and 52 weeks, that thing's going to get back to 30 or pretty damn close, if not more. So I know if I buy it at 10, at some point it's going to get to 20 and 30. History repeats itself. Same thing with a property. If I buy this property that was once sold at one point in time for $200,000 and I get it for 125, and I can put the work into it and I can keep my expenses low, I get 25 into it and it's at 150, I should be able to sell this property again at some point at 200,000. But the thing about it is that we live in a society where costs always go up. They don't go down, right? We always set new highs. We got new highs on gas. We're used to paying $2, $3 for gas. Now we're getting used to paying $4 and $5. It's never going to be below $1 again. We're used to paying $3, $4 for a gallon of milk when we used to pay less than $1 for a gallon of milk. We set new highs in our lives. It never goes down. It always goes up. But consumers don't think that way. They just think, if it's cheap now, I'm going to get it. But if I have to wait to get a return from it, I'll probably never get a return. A capitalist always thinks, okay, if this house was bought 15 years ago for $200,000, I'm buying it for $120. If I can put 20, 30 into it and get it up and running, I should be able to sell for at least 2, if not more, and make 40, 50, 60, 70,000. So if we can get more people to start thinking beyond 2-week increments, you'll see more people have money beyond the 2-week increments, have something generationally to pass down beyond just when you're here breathing, and when you're not here anymore, you can't support people. So that's what we have to get people to understand. If you can get people to understand that concept, so many more people will win.
I totally agree. Now, what is one thing that you tell your clients that is trying to get their course off the ground for the first time, trying to work through eBay, trying to work through Amazon to get some sales? Like, what are some of the tips that you would give them early on when they're just starting that journey?
So the main thing that I tell people is that success leaves clues. You know, this is a term that many people have said for years. Success leaves clues. Study people who are winning in the area, right? Because if you study people that are winning in the area, what you'll find is that there's something that they're missing. Everybody. So when you look at Tesla came in years after GM, Ford, and all of them, and now Tesla's the most profitable company on the planet Earth. Or well, not on the planet Earth, but they're the most valuable car company on Earth, right? They're more valuable than all the other ones. Doesn't mean they make more sales, but they just figured out something that all these other ones weren't doing. So what I always tell people, let's find 2 to 3 people that are doing something similar to what you want to do, whether it's in e-commerce, coaching, whatever it is. Let's find those 2 or 3 people. Let's find out what they're doing right, and let's find out what they're doing wrong. Here's 2 things that always happen. Number 1, you find out what they're not doing right and what they're missing the point, or where they're not filling the gap. But here's the second thing that normally happens, that literally if people did this, it would blow their minds. You find out that they don't know near as much as you do about what you're intimidated by them for. Most people never launch or never get their e-commerce to the right place or get their brands to the right place because they're intimidated by people with a higher number, more followers, more likes, more engagement. And one of the things about it is that this person just came in at a time when no one else was coming in. And they decided to show up. And even though they only know 20% of what they're talking about, and you know 80% more than they do, they're confident enough in that 20% where everybody that follows them believes them. They believe that this is the best person for this, when this person only knows 20% of what this particular topic is. Here you are, you know 80% more than this person, but you are more intimidated because this person has a K next to their number on their followers. You won't step out, and therefore all these people that are following them and many others, you're sitting there like, damn, they don't even know half what I know. They don't even know what they're talking about. You're the only one that knows, because everybody that's following them don't even know that much. They're confident in their 20%, and you won't even be confident in your 80. That's the only time I tell people, listen, that's the 80-20 rule. That's the 80-20 rule. And so until people can get more confident in, studying their people, like study them. If you're in e-commerce, and a lot of products are the same, they just got different brands. Buy their products, see what what kind of shipping it comes in. See if they leave a card, see what kind of materials they use, what kind of box they use. That's what I used to do. When I was selling used iPhones and cases and stuff like that, I would buy other people's. Where are they going to send it into? Did they wipe it? Was it clean? Were the pictures good? The pictures are kind of blurred. Let me take better pictures. All that kind of different stuff. And that's why I was able to sell iPhone 4s at the time when 7s were out for $200, $250 when I was buying them from people on eBay, by the way, that were selling them to me for less than $100. It was the same phone. I would buy a phone for $80 from someone that I studied, and I was able to sell it for $250. How was I able to do that? Because I saw this person was taking trash photos. They were taking them on their countertops. They didn't look professional. It looked kind of dim. So when I took it in the light, I bought a little box thing that made the pictures look good. I bought a little nice light to make the pictures look nice and bright. I had much better descriptions. I was able to sell it for almost twice as much more. Wow. But if I wouldn't have studied them, I would have tried to compete with them and said, I'm just going to sell this phone for They're selling it for 85. I'm gonna sell it for 80.
Yep. Yep.
And I could have missed out on all that profit because I wasn't confident enough in what I had to know that it's worth more. You're just missing the mark, but here's where I can fix it. And that's how I've approached my business and all my clients and everything else with that same methodology. And that's how most of my clients and students, they win, the ones that follow me.
That's what's up. And it reminds me of Blue Ocean Strategy. You ever read that book?
Man, I just finished a webinar presentation. I'm going to be teaching on that.
Wow. See, yeah. And you talking that talk because when I first read that book, I had no idea how profound it really is to be able to swim in this blue ocean versus the red one where all the sharks are.
Sharks.
It's like y'all competing for these same customers. You're doing exactly the same way. So it's just like finding that unique proposition that you can provide for your clients, for your customers. And sometimes it's small. Like I said jokingly the other day on a live, George, that like somebody like what is that hotel? They're under Hilton, Doubletree Hotel. They have the best cookies when you just getting off the road. You just got out of your doggone Uber. You walk in that bad boy, you smell cookies.
Yeah.
No other hotel is offering that experience. Now, does it mean that their beds are as softer, they got the best tissue? No, none of that. But when you walk in there, you smell these cookies, and that is a mood, that's a vibe. And it's literally creating a whole different experience that customers get a chance to have, unlike some of these other places. And this is what we're saying, y'all. Like, if you can look at what other people are doing, study it. Spend some time studying. Don't just jump right in. Spend some time studying it and see if you can literally create something very small or something big that the customers are going to remember. Like George's point about the better picture quality, the lighting, the better copy and the words. Like, what are these people missing that they never thought about, but you did?
Blue ocean. Blue ocean. One of the best examples you can give of a blue ocean is Chick-fil-A. So if you look at Chick-fil-A, they just offer one thing: chicken and waffle fries. That's it. So when Popeyes came out with their chicken, and it was dope. Popeyes still was in the red ocean trying to create a blue ocean. Because they still sell fish sandwiches, they sell all the chicken wings, chicken legs, chicken thighs. Then they got a chicken sandwich, and then they got rice, and then they got all these things, and then they couldn't even keep up with the demand, right? Chick-fil-A has a system in place where people aren't even intimidated by the line. You can see a Chick-fil-A that has 30 cars in the line, and you can see a Popeyes with 2 cars in the line, and you're thinking, and this line in Chick-fil-A ain't gonna be long. You know what I'm saying? Like, it ain't going to be long. Let me just go over here and Chick-fil-A. That's a blue ocean. That's a blue ocean because even though you got all these options around you, you still go to the one that looks like it's going to take you the longest. That's a blue ocean.
Because it's something also, George, about that experience. And
right.
This is what I keep telling people. Like, when you go to Disney, that's another crazy example. They have your behind waiting in the 75, 80-degree weather, sun beating down on your head. You got one of them little visor things on that's not working. You still hot, you sweating, but you're not complaining because you're in the Disney line and you know that they're going to give you a dope experience. Chick-fil-A is giving you a dope experience. When you go to McDonald's, when you go to Burger King, when you go to Wendy's, you can put all of them together. You're still not going to have the same experience. And George, I ain't even think about that, but these folks ain't even complaining to be in the Chick-fil-A line. They almost feel proud that they in line.
100%. I've never complained once. Not never. And I'm talking about I've been in the street in the middle of a red light with a blinker on. And I'm just like, yo, you get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you looking at the car that's looking at you like, I know you get it. I know you get it. You know what I'm saying? And within 30 seconds, that line is moving. So if you, like I said, it's just the blue ocean. The thing is that the reason that most people, wow, I just got this. This is all fresh. The reason most people are scared to get into the water is because the water is so damn bloody. All you see is sharks. So people are afraid. This person's got 50,000 falls. That one's got 30. But you're just creating sharks. But if you just turn around, it's like, what is that blue way down the distance? And you take the walk. See, that's the thing. They don't want to take the walk. It's too far of a distance.
Yep.
So we'd rather keep sticking our toes in the red water because we don't want to put our feet on the sand to get to the blue water.
Wow.
So when you get to the blue water, you see, oh, Manny's over there chilling. George is over there chilling. Miranda's chilling. This is beautiful. Everybody over there is in a rush. They're trying to sell you something. They're, showing fake PayPal balances and Photoshop Photoshop Stripe things. And,
Yep.
they're telling you about this. And these people over here, they're just living.
Just living.
It's a different vibe. It's like it's the difference between going overseas and sitting on that beach versus going in the Midwest and sitting at a lake. One water's green,
Hey,
one
man, I hope
water's
you ain't
blue.
talking about Cleveland, Ohio, man. That's what I'm at, George. You talking about Cleveland, man?
I'm talking about Oklahoma, but I guess that's the Cleveland of the Midwest. That's the Cleveland of the Midwest.
Yeah, but bro, you're right though, man. It's because I've gotten to this point in the past 2 years that really, like, around the time when we met on Clubhouse, I was still trying to, like, find myself. Like, I knew I wanted to do branding. That's where was my bread and butter. We was helping people with their businesses, but I still was a little bit unsure because I was still swimming around with a little bit of red, a little bit of blue. Like, I was in the middle. Like, I wasn't ready to completely be this Manny Hall that I am now because I felt like, well, that's where the customer is at, though. I see them. They're right there. When you get into this blue ocean, there is literally nobody there because they don't know that you exist yet. But when you start showing up in such a meaningful way, it's almost like a call out to the wild, like, cuckoo! All the people that want to rock with you, they like, man, where the heck you been at? I've been needing somebody like you. But I was too busy swimming over here in the red ocean, hoping that I would pick up a couple, and then I was going to try to take them over to the blue ocean. It wasn't the same. George, this is what happened, bro. This is going to be a quick story. This is what happened. I started working with clients probably about 2021 hard, and I started noticing that it's their mindset. Like, their social media was popping. I was like, but it's their mindset. They don't believe in themselves. They're not confident. Every time I say do a live video, they like, well, Manny, I don't know. Like, what if ain't nobody gonna show up and then I'm gonna be embarrassed? I ain't about to be out here like that. Plus, my hair ain't done. I gotta get my nails done. Like, don't show your nails. What about my hair? Put the wig on. Well, I gotta wash the wig. All these excuses. All these excuses. And I was just like, man, I have to help them in a different way.
Right.
So after my prayer meditation time, man, God started showing me, said, listen, son, you got to help people with brand development. You got to help them develop their brand because many people, they have all the money. They have a really great following. But with all of that, they still don't know who they are. They're still not building something sustainable. They're still having a horrible buying process for their clients. So then when I get ready to buy from you, you're sending me your Cash App. You're sending me your PayPal information. Why? Like, we're in 2022. You're the successful business owner, and you're sending me your Cash App. I had to improve their processes behind the scenes. And this was not the fun part for me because I felt like, well, they coming to me to help them with their marketing. I got to give them something that's going to make them a lot of money. I said, no, I'm going to help them build something sustainable.
That's it.
That they can actually be proud of. I'm going to make sure that their logo actually coincides with their brand. I'm going to make sure that their website is popping. If they don't need a website, I'm just going to create a landing page for them, and that's going to get them the sales that they're looking for. But it was all these things I didn't want to do, George, because it seemed so scary, bro.
Man, listen, when I was swimming in the red ocean for a long period of time, that's why this shirt used to be blue. The biggest thing for me was I started to become a mindset coach, and I'm not a mindset coach. Okay.
Okay.
And so what I mean by that was I'm the guy that's going to teach you how to make money, how to, do all these other things. But I'm spending more time talking about mindset.
Yeah.
And we're like 48 minutes into this session, and we haven't talked about anything with money. We've been
I thought I was the only one that experienced that, bro.
No. And so what I had to do was I had to say, okay, first of all, you can't book me like that anymore, right? So I had to have a booking form. Let me see that you're already doing some kind of work. Then we have someone reach out to you and make sure that you are mentally ready to do this, because you know just as well as I do, Manny, especially when you're coaching people one-on-one, it takes a lot of your energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And like for me at the time, I was seeing people back to back. So by the time I would be done, it'd be 4 hours in. I'm like, I just want to go to sleep.
Wow.
And it's only like 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But I'm exhausted because I'm like, of 3 people out of 4 people, 3 of them I just had to like talk them off the ledge, and one of them was the one that I got to say, yeah, go do this. Oh, you did that last week? Oh man, that's great. Well, how did you do? Man, I got 1 out of 4 sessions that I enjoyed. And I got tired of that. And some people were like, George, why do you even care? And I said, it's because you want people to win. I don't want people's money if you're not gonna win.
Right.
Because listen, if I get 10,000 clients this month and only get 9,990, or only 1 that actually gets results and the other 9,099 didn't, that's not good for me from a testimonial standpoint, from a receipt standpoint. So my business isn't gonna last long because I ain't got enough people to say, hey, look, this worked for them, this worked for them. Because the other 9,999, I'm sitting there trying to get them to get their mindset right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I tell people it's a slippery slope when you're constantly trying to convince people to buy your products or services. Because all you're setting up for is you're setting up to be a mindset coach. If you're convincing people to buy your products and services and it's a mindset type of thing, that's what you should be doing. But if you're trying to teach people about credit, you're trying to teach people about business, you're trying to teach people about branding or whatever, if you have to convince them to buy your products and services, you are setting yourself up to be a mindset coach. 90% of all the things that you guys are going to cover are going to be based around mindset. If you're having a group coaching program or a hybrid course where you're telling people you need to buy this course, you need to buy this, and they find like, fine, let me buy it. And the first wall they come to, they're going to see, I knew it didn't work. And they're just going to give you all these problems. And you're going to wish that you never even sold that course. You're not even going to look at the fact you just made $10,000. You're going to be thinking, man, when these 6 weeks is over, I don't even know if I'm going to do this. Like, I'm just going to go back. Like, I'm going to go on Indeed right now. So when this is over, I can have a job lined up. Because this, I'm telling you, I've been there. And I said, this ain't the way to live. You can't be like, that's no way to live if you're making $10K a month and you're looking for a $4K a month job. Because you're just like, my bills are $3K. If I make $4K after taxes, I'm Gucci. Wow. This ain't worth it. Bro, that's not the way to live. It ain't. So my advice, like I tell people, we said in the early one, stop trying to heavily promote to consumers and start promoting to capitalists. Capitalists understand value, consumers understand cost. Okay? If you're spending more time talking about why you should be buying this course versus the value of what you're going to get from it, you're already losing it. Because if the conversation has switched from value to cost and worth and all that other stuff, if they don't see the value, they're not going to see it. They're not going to see it when they get to it. And you're just setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think that all of us is on, you need to be able to get to this point where you're enjoying your life. Most people are really only trying to build a business so they can buy their happiness later. What if you decide to be happy now? And this is one of the things that I teach my clients to say, look, stop tripping about all this other stuff, y'all, because at the end of the day, you just really want to be happy. So what is that for you? Like for me, this is going to sound weird, y'all, but for me, it was buying a nice, decent car, being able to go to the grocery store, buy whatever I wanted, didn't even care about the cost, be able to take my wife to restaurants, didn't care about the cost anymore, be able to take my kids places, didn't have to say, no, you can't get these Legos, I got to wait till 2 weeks when I get paid. I was tired of talking like that. I wanted to be able to buy whatever the heck I wanted to. Guess what happened? I'm there now. But the next goal is I want to start buying more investment properties. I want to start investing into Bitcoin. I want to start investing in the stocks a lot more because I'm not doing that right now. So this is my next level up. But where is your first level up? And be honest with yourself. George alluded to all these people that you see on Instagram. They're doing some dope things. But don't start comparing yourself. I don't personally believe that you should believe in competition. Although people compete with each other all the time, I don't think y'all really should be having to compete with each other. Because if you're swimming in this blue ocean like we're talking about, and y'all get that book, Blue Ocean Strategy, is actually on YouTube. You can listen to it for totally free. Shameless plug. No sales. I ain't getting nothing out of it. But go read the book for your business. It'll help. But seriously, y'all, like, it took me some time to switch my understanding about how this whole thing works. But now I'm all about enjoying my life. And you just got to ask yourself, what does that look like for me? So I'm going to tell you the quickest way to do it. Create an avatar for the person that you want to become. There was this future Manny. Listen, he got a black on black Range Rover, and he wasn't doing it to impress everybody. I just really liked the way that it looked, George. I like sitting in it. And when I went to test drive, I was like,
Yeah.
this a vibe. I might sleep in here a couple nights. When the wife might be getting on my nerves, baby, I'm going to be out in the car. I'll talk to you tomorrow. But along with that, y'all, I traveled. I took my wife places. I worked out better. I took care of my skin. I was trying to eat a little bit better. One of the biggest things is I knew who I was, and it was no longer me trying to muster up the confidence and the willpower. Like, all right, I'm gonna be confident today. All right, hey, y'all, I'm confident. I didn't want to do that no more. So I had to switch things about myself. And as I start walking into this person, I no longer had to use willpower. Y'all start waking up just being the person that I am. But for a season, I had to put in the work of reading books, doing my meditation, doing affirmations, recognizing when I'm on this pattern of thinking that ain't healthy. Like when you start doubting yourself and being all fearful, understand why. Like don't examine it just for a little bit. Because then you'll say, no, I am a rock star, I'm tripping. Let me go ahead and do this live video and crush it real quick. But without you tapping into who you are, and George, you talked about confidence earlier, it's going to be real hard for you to get these sales, y'all, because you're not going to come off as the type of person that somebody wants to buy from.
And I want to add something else, Manny, that I'm glad we're seeing more of it, but I don't think we're seeing enough of it. I think that more entrepreneurs need to go to therapy. That was a game changer for me. Was going to therapy.
Me too.
Because
Me too.
What you end up finding out, and I'll talk about it publicly, what you end up finding out is that a lot of the things that are holding you back are from something that happened that you just kind of swept under the rug.
Yep.
And when you address those problems, you become more confident and you become more aligned with who you really are.
Yep.
One of the things that my therapist told me on one of our sessions was I had a problem with confidence a couple of years ago. Like, I don't like saying stuff because I don't want to be wrong and all this other stuff. And one of the things he told me, he's like, okay, so what, whenever you are thinking about saying something, like whenever you're thinking of speaking up about something, why don't you say it again? And I was like, I'm just not confident enough. He's like, okay, give me an example. So I gave him an example of something. He's like, okay, that answer that you gave, how confident were you that that was the right answer? Well, I'm very confident because I researched it. I've read it several times. I've implemented myself. He's like, well, isn't confidence knowing that what you are going to say is something you've researched, you've read on certain times, and it's actually helped you?
Wow.
And I said, yeah. And he's like, so why can't you just be confident in what you've researched, what you've done, and what's worked for you?
Wow.
And I remember I sat there like, and he's like, why are you like that? And here's the thing that I learned, Manny. If you grew up in a black home, a lot of y'all are gonna resonate with this. What I learned in that session was that I was still the little boy that my parents were telling me don't speak unless spoken to. And don't talk when adults are talking. They're sitting there spinning their wheels trying to think of something. I'm trying to tell them the answer because I remember it as a 6-7-year-old, and they're telling me stop, stay out of grown folks' business. And no one ever acknowledged he was right.
Wow.
He told you right.
Yep.
So what ended up happening was I took that into my adult life, and I didn't want to be told, even though I knew I was right,
Yep.
stop being in grown folks' business. Stop speaking up. This wasn't something you were supposed to say. And then once I learned that, he's like, you're not that little boy anymore.
That's dope.
What are you going to do if your child has something and you don't even speak up to your child? He's like, I was like, but I do. They're my child. I speak up to. He's like, so why can't you speak up to people just like you speak to your child? And I said, oh my God. But it changed my whole paradigm. My son is 4. Sometimes I tell him not to do stuff, and he sees me doing it. And he's like, Dad, don't do that. Guess what I do? I say, son, you're right. And I'll, it could be something where I go in here and get some orange juice in the middle of the night or something like that. He's like, Daddy, remember, no more juice tonight. It's bedtime. Son, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. And I'll be like, and I'll reach the cup down, and he'll take the cup and go pour it in the sink like I do with him.
Oh, wow.
He's like, I let him do it because I want him to have that confidence. That's what helped me back. Some people might say, why would you let your 4-year-old? Because that's building his confidence. I'm telling him it shouldn't be a one-way street on what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
If we have rules in the house and I'm telling him this is the way to do it and he brings that to my attention, I'm going to honor that because I don't want him to have problems with his confidence like his dad did And I didn't know for 20 some odd years of my life that was a problem for me.
Wow.
But once I addressed it, I've been a beast ever since.
That's dope. That's dope. And let me ask you this. For your business, without having that confidence, where do you think it would be right now?
I was barely hitting six figures before I got into therapy and got a business. 80,000, 90,000, something like that. Once I started going to therapy, started implementing all these different things, my business went to $500,000 that next year.
Wow. That's
and then
crazy,
I crossed
bro.
over the seven-figure mark the following.
That's crazy.
Then I lost everything and built it all back up in less than 3 months. Confidence. Now, if I didn't have that, I don't know, man.
Man. See, George, this that talk that's really about to help people. People they want the steps 1, 2, 3. How am I supposed to get $1 million business, man? But you just gave them $1 million worth of game. As another black fellow, man, I applaud you, bro. Because when I went to counseling, I had a similar experience. Like I really tapped into a lot of the insecurities, a lot of mindset. Mine was finances because finances really messed my body up. I developed this thing called neuropathy, which is like nerve damage. So it was hurtful to walk sometimes. In my hands, it was like real shaky all the time. It was because it was built up anxiety from me being always worried and depressed about money and what am I going to do? Because that's the way my parents grew up. That's the way they raised us, like to always be anxious. And I don't know if y'all realize this, but like George was just talking about how he interacts with his son with the whole Jew said no after a certain time thing. That's a model behavior. So his son is naturally going to grow up more confident, even without George saying, hey, son, I want you to be more confident. It's a model behavior. So I got some information from my mom and dad just by them modeling the behavior, and it literally messed me up. I had to take years through therapy, through counseling, being at churches and getting counseling and therapy from the pastors and the leaders, simply because I had no idea how to break free from this fear. But my fear and anxiety about money, it translated into my business, y'all, because it was hard for me to hit six figures at first because I didn't believe that I deserved to. You can be that person that's working real hard right now. Feel like, man, I feel like I'm doing everything. Why is the money not coming in? It might just be because you don't believe that you deserve to have that. You might be like me, who only thought that you could get 50,000. So I would be excited when I had a $4,000 month, like, oh my gosh, my business hit $4,000. Now, like that, I still can't pay all my bills because my expenses are $6,000-$7,000. So now what am I doing? So now I still got to make more money, so I got to get a little more confidence. But look, y'all, when I start doing therapy, and this is not us trying to get you to go to therapy, it's simply saying that successful business owners, successful CEOs, they be in therapy heavy, y'all. They be finding out what's going on with their business so it's no longer a hinder. When you think about brand development, this is what I do, y'all. We got to identify what exactly is going on. You might be somebody that's not sleeping well. So then you think that you're going to perform well on your webinar, on your coaching calls. Not, because you're getting 5 hours of sleep. You're exhausted, and it's understandable. But this whole hustle, grind mentality, team no sleep, that's team no health. You're not going to get anywhere like that.
That's
y'all.
out. That's out. That's out.
So, George, like as we close out, bro, you got any last words and then anything that you can offer them that you got going on? Any webinars, any challenges that they can tap into?
Yeah, man. So my closing thoughts would be this. I believe that we are living in the most prosperous time in the history of the world. I really believe that. We have never been in a time to where you don't have to go and sign a 3-year lease to rent a property from a commercial property, pay to put a sign out front, get shelves and get all this stuff to be able to sell something and hope that you make enough to cover your rent for that property and then your living expenses. I built my business and made my first 6 figures while I was making 6 figures in corporate. When I made my first $500,000, I was still working a 9 to 5.
Wow.
Where else can you do something like that? I mean, literally, I would leave on my lunch breaks and come home and record modules for my courses. I would literally go into the parking lot on my 15-minute breaks and do Periscope lives. So the thing is that we're living in a time to where literally you don't have to quit your job and put yourself in a crisis state to build a business. People don't understand when you have consistent income, you do have money coming in every 2 weeks. That's when you should be the most aggressive.
Yeah.
That's when you should be trying out these different courses. You should be trying these different coaches. Maybe some of them don't work out, but at least you know in 2 weeks that disposable income is going to be right back where it started.
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I was aggressive when I had income instead of trying to be aggressive when I didn't. Because no matter how aggressive you want to be when you don't have income, if it requires it, it's going to just hurt you that much more, because now you want to be aggressive because you have to be, but you can't be aggressive because you can't afford to be.
Wow.
So if you can take the time to really realize how good of a situation you're in, if you're making money every 2 weeks, you can get up and go and work for 40 hours a week, and you can pay your bills and have disposable income, you are in the best position to create another stream of income to get you out of that rat race. I had a good job, Manny. I didn't have the problem that a lot of people have where I hated my job. I was there for 12 years. I loved it. I had to force myself to leave because I'm like, why would I leave? I'm making 6 figures. I'm making good money. But if I wanted to get to 7 figures, I knew I had to get those 8 hours back a day, those 40 hours back a week, sometimes 60 hours a week.
Gotcha.
So I didn't have, so I don't have that bash a job. I had a horrible experience. I didn't have that. My director was dope. The people I worked with were great. We were there for 12 years. We were like family. Like, I know people are like, oh, when the job says like family red flag, it really was like that.
Wow.
But I knew if I needed to go to the next level, I had to let it go.
Wow.
But I was in position to let it go because just the year before I did $500,000. It would take me 5 years to do that if I stayed there versus I did it in one. So the thing about it is that, you know, just be someone that, you know, understands where you stand right now, that you're in the best position. You're in the best position to be aggressive. You're in the best position to build something. You're in the best position to find out what works and what doesn't. Because at least you know no matter what happens in this 5 to 9, your 9 to 5 is still going to take care of all this.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that would be my parting words. I am doing a webinar. I don't have the link up right now. I actually just finished building out the funnel for it. So if you are interested in that link, just shoot me a DM. But we're going to be doing a webinar on April the 7th, which is the first Thursday of April, where I'm going to be giving 3 secrets to building a 10K a month online course business. We're going to be talking about the blue ocean and how to build that out. We're going to be talking about how to drive traffic to your stuff without paying for Facebook ads. We're going to also talk about building out your course and the strategies that you need to build a 10K a month course. And literally it's going to be a game changer for so many people that are interested. So we probably plan to get that link out on my link tree probably tomorrow. But if you're interested in it, make sure you shoot me a DM so I can make sure to get it to you. And like I said, man, we're gonna give the people some really good information and give them some great next steps.
No, that sounds absolutely amazing. For those that just tapped in, at the top, you'll see that down arrow. Click that down arrow. Make sure that you follow George Pitts. Listen, he gives out the most valuable information. I would say of all the people that I would kind of consider colleagues in this business, he's one of the dopest. And he's somebody that I've been rocking with, that I can trust his information and share it with y'all. This is the reason why I wanted him to go live with me. And I reached out to him and asked him. I'm so thankful that he did, because I know that he was going to provide some value. So this video is going to be saved on my page, but it's also going to have a link created for YouTube a little bit later. So you'll be able to watch it on YouTube or watch it here on my page. But y'all, peace and blessings. George, thanks again for your time today, bro. This was absolutely amazing.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you for having me on. Man, I tell you what, I don't know if you got a podcast in the works, but the way you work questions and stuff, man, we got to have that Manny Hall Speaks podcast, man.
That's what's up, man. That's what's up. I appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Y'all take care. Peace and blessings.